So let's get started with the economy and cost of living. And we'll begin by hearing from a resident of the district. Robin Martinez's family has lived in the Thornton area for 5 generations now, and the 6th generation of her family is thinking about leaving.
My son just recently graduated college and is looking for his first home. Unfortunately, due to the high cost of rent and limited options for first-time home buyers, he's having to consider moving out of state.
So, Ms. Caraveo, first question to you. What can Congress do to bring down the cost of living and encourage affordable housing in Colorado?
You know, I think the prime thing that Congress can do and that I will fight for if I am elected the first Congresswoman from Colorado's 8th District is to really focus on affordable housing by funding it. At the state level, we can do a lot more things hands-on. I have done those as a state legislator by making sure that we're looking at exorbitant fees that renters are being charged, by making sure that we're looking at the costs around evictions, and by lowering costs for families across the board. It was one of the reasons that I left my pediatric practice and decided to run for office. I was seeing the difficulty that families like my own hardworking, working class families were having to stay in places like Thornton. And so when I am in Congress, I will focus on making sure that we are funding affordable housing and that we are countering the costs that we're seeing increasing everywhere in Colorado.
So federal funding for affordable housing by raising more revenue through some source or cutting elsewhere. How do you see that working?
You know, I think that it's important at the federal government level and everywhere to do what we do in Colorado, to make sure that government is spending responsibly, that when we are spending it is going to the people that need it most, to working class families, and that we are making sure that our government is efficient. I think there are probably a lot of things that we can look at to make sure that money is going to places where it needs to, like healthcare and housing.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, same question to you. What can Congress do about the cost of living in Colorado and possibly affordable housing?
First thing they can do is stop the spending, stop the reckless spending, cut taxes, and really go in and look at how do we get our deficit spending under control. We have basically in this state the highest inflation rate across the United States. It just went up to 16%. Highest inflation rate ever. We've got a 40-year high inflation rate here, and all we can do in Congress is just keep spending. We don't have a balanced budget. We need to balance the budget. We need to stop spending so much. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. Basically, what's going on because of the cost of living and the increases in inflation is, on average, Coloradoans are spending $11,783 more this year than they did 2 years ago. That means the cost of food has gone up, the cost of housing has gone up, the cost of gasoline has gone up. So we need to stop spending, and what we can also do is unleash American energy production here in Colorado, here in the United States. Get those jobs back. Let's get good paying jobs.
That's time there. So I understand the connection between spending and inflation. Could you explain the connection between lowering government spending and affordable housing in Colorado? How do we increase affordable housing stock, or is there nothing that the federal government can do on that?
What the federal government has done with their increase in inflation is, again, increase mortgage rates. We just had a huge increase. In fact, we have doubled interest rates just in the last year. It's up to, what, 6.75? So because of inflation and what's going on, and we're entering into a recession, we've got the federal government that's increased interest rates by, what, just 0.75 just even in the last week or so, and they're talking about another 0.75 by the end of the year. So we've more than doubled interest rates. That's making it unaffordable for people to buy a home, or even, quite frankly, to pay for rent at this point. So federal government needs to stop spending. We need to cut inflation.